Members of the council, please take your seat. I'd like to call this meeting to order, meeting of the November 17th City Council meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Present.
Councilman Andujar?
Present.
Councilman Ritz?
Present.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vasari?
Present.
Councilman Campiano?
Present.
Councilman Bonanno?
Present.
Council Vice President Royan?
Present.
Council President Wall?
Here. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting a citation of congratulations on behalf of the City Council to the CLCF Boys U2, U10U Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs. It's my honor to stand before you and give this citation. You've done such good work. We all know the efforts and the hard work that team sports require. Football and other team sports teach us about commitment, about teamwork, about hard work, and striving for a cause. I know you're all here and you're filling the auditorium, and it's good to see you. I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate your families. You've done your families, your coaches, and certainly your city proud. So I'm going to read the citation, and then Council Member Bonanno is also going to say something. If I can find the citation. Yep, thank you, buddy. And it reads as follows: the Cranston City Council. Be it known that all Cranston City Council hereby issues this citation to the Cranston CLCF Boys U10U football team, American Youth Football Blackstone Valley Super Bowl champions, on this date, November 17th, 2025. Councilmember Bonanno.
Thank you, Council President. On behalf of all of us, I got a couple things to say. Although I'm a pretty big Patriots fan, but I love these Chiefs. I want to tell you that right now. I want to wish every single one of you congratulations. And Coach Hopkins and Coach Palazzo have told me that you get a pretty big game coming up against Springfield, right? Now, is that right? You guys excited for that? All right. This is the one time you can yell in the council chamber and nobody will get mad at you, okay? I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart how proud your city is of you. And while we definitely want you to beat some serious Springfield butt coming up, no matter what happens in the game, your city will continue to be proud of you, and we wish you all the best. So without further ado, I want to go back to the council president, who's going to call you guys up by name. Line right up here. If you want to give each of the council members a high five, because this is our favorite part of being council members, to do something good and to bring some kids in here that, you know, like you guys that really represent Cranston perfectly. All right, so Council President, back to you.
I'm going to ask you to hand them off.
Yep.
So I'm going to do my best. Here's the first one, by the way. I stole that so I could read it. If you could come up here, as your name is called, Adrian Kemen. Alonzo Boyd. Braden Prope. Bryson Stillwell. Christian Karakakis. Christian Karakakis. Thank you. Dominic Ritchie. Everett Baker. Gian Tiberi. Isaiah Danzler. John Palazzo. Justin Avila. Ken Hopkins III. Mason Fraser. Matthew Mazzola. Nicholas Innocente. Thomas Hazard. Tori Fuentes. Xavier Williams. And now for the Chiefs coaches, head coach Randy Baker. Offensive coordinator Ken Hopkins Jr. Defensive coordinator Mike Kara. Assistant coaches Alonzo Boyd. Steven Danzler. Gary Tiberi. Kyle Totoro. And David Squilance. Congratulations both to the team and their coaches. If anyone would like to take pictures, by all means. All right.
Take one of you, take yours first.
So I'm gonna let them know, all right? Now, gentlemen, if you could remain, Director Moretti also has a citation on behalf of Mayor Hopkins. Director?
Hello, men, boys, parents. My name is Anthony Moretti, I'm Chief of Staff of Mayor Hopkins. Unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. Things like this are the reason why he loves being mayor. He wished he could be here. Certainly, anyone who knows him knows he would have been here, from also some very personal reasons also. You know, in the city, the mayor believes that basically all our kids are champions, to be honest with you. He believes in that. You know, he was a school teacher for many years in our system. You know, his wife, Mary, certainly a school teacher, always believed in the children and the future of the city. The mayor was an athletic director in the city of Cranston. And in fact, he even said this term, the second term, is dedicated to the kids of the city, to do everything he can in terms of capital spending and for the schools. And that's what he's committed publicly. He's committed to me as one of his closer friends, closer advisors. So each of you kids, especially near and dear to him. And it's especially fulfilling that tonight you guys are the champions for our city of Cranston. And you know, it's not just you kids. It's obviously your coaches. And when you go home, thank your parents and grandparents for making you who you guys are today. Okay? So with that, rather than going through all the names, I'd like to give these citations to Coach Baker to pass out to everyone because we'd be redundant otherwise. But I would just like to say with each of the citations that the mayor is requested to be given to each of you what they say. And I believe also your jersey numbers attached. So and the citations go to the coaches also. But by way of example, they're saying the city of Cranston, this is to certify and make known unto all to whom these presents shall come, that Mayor Kenneth J. Hopkins issues this citation to each of you folks, CLCF Chiefs 10 under, I believe, 10U football 2025 Super Bowl champions. On behalf of the city, Mayor Kenneth J. Hopkins extends his congratulations to the CLCF Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl championship, bringing it to victory. This achievement is a testament to your hard work, dedication, and teamwork. The entire community is proud of your successes and the sportsmanship you have displayed throughout the season. Your victory serves as an inspiration to youth athletes everywhere, proving that with perseverance and determination, great things can be accomplished. He witnessed that in each one of your games too, when he saw your games. Once again, congratulations, guys. Best of luck and keep up the good work.
Give that to my dad.
Congratulations.
See you Friday. See you Friday.
All right. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion under Rhode Island General Laws 4246B to amend the agenda, and this will be amended under Council President Communications to give an update on the open meeting decision on the Pattern versus Cranston City Council decision from the Rhode Island Attorney General for discussion purposes only. Is there a motion?
Motion, so moved.
Is there any discussion? There being none, I'm going to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. And that discussion will take place during Council President Communications. Next item of business is the approval of minutes. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from the October 27, 2025 regular meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve October 27, 2025 as drafted. Second.
Is there any discussion? There being none, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Thank you. Moving right on. Next will be the approval of minutes from the November 6, 2025 special city council meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the November 6, 2025 meeting minutes as drafted. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Royan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Thank you. All right, moving right on to public hearing. Is there anyone in the chambers this evening who would like to make public comment on docketed matters only? If you do, step up to the podium. You'll have 4 minutes to speak, and please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carol Cooney. My address is 8 Eva Lane. And I would like to talk about the fire about a year ago at the Lawn Beautician. I have a couple of concerns. First of all, I think they're doing a very good job cleaning up the front part of the Lawn Beautician, and I appreciate that very, very much. My concern is we're over a year and this is still going on. I think we have to always, I don't want people to forget what happened because it was real. That fire was there, and I'm very concerned about the safety. And I want remedy, some kind to go forward so that this doesn't happen again. Nothing happened per se. However, the safety issue is still present. I went there today and I took some photos, and if you'd like, I'm happy to share with you of the current from Eva Lane, my street. I don't know if I can hand these in, but it just gives you an, an idea.
Yes,
about-
we'll have someone give it to the clerk so we can have, thank you.
And my concern is, like, maybe they could do a little bit more regarding the height of those piles and the distance from the tree line, because that's where the problem lies. So with that being said, I wonder, could an ordinance be something that would be considered? A safe, reasonable distance away from the tree line. That's what I wanted to say. I mean, like I already stated, I think they've done a great job with their efforts, and I very much appreciate that. However, there's more work to do. If we could take example about working together like those children, I think we'd all be better off. So thank you for your time. Yes,
Okay.
those are your copies. It just gives you an idea. I mean, I'm 5'2", okay, and I took those from the ground, so they're pretty high. Thank you.
We'll make sure the councilman gets them back to you.
All right, thank you. Can I ask for a motion to enter the photographs into the record, please?
So
Motion.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ryan?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to make public comment on agenda matters only? Please state your name and address for the record.
David Moyo, lawn beauticians with this matter that was just brought up. So I noticed that we're on the docket tonight,
Sir, can you state your address?
460 Natick Avenue. Sorry, I never did this before. Is that better?
We can hear you. Yep.
Okay. So I noticed that we're on the docket today, so I came and I asked a few questions of, what is the problem? Because it keeps coming up. I watch at home on, the computer. So they bring up the whole composting thing. We have a DEM permit for composting. So DEM has came out, issued us a composting permit to take in brush and leaves. They've seen the site. They have a map of the site. They come out there, I don't know, a few times a year. So that's that. The mulch, we make mulch under farming, nursery. They say the piles are high. The piles are only 12 feet high, maybe 10 feet high. They're as high as a loader goes up. We don't stack on top of piles to create enormous amount of heat. I've also brought up the fact that, like that woman just said, close to the property lines. I mean, all of our wood chips and everything are in the middle of the property. So there's really no wood chips that are near any property lines. So that shouldn't be a concern. We have, like I said, the compost is in the back. That's already with that. There was also something to do with trucks. So New England Mulching is a DBA of lawn beauticians. So that's a lawn beautician's truck that's there. We also rent one garage in the office and a little bit of land to Brightview. Brightview is a landscape company. The property is grandfathered in pre-1960 something. There's been zoning decisions about it. And, it's the same thing. It's landscaping. So they run trucks for landscaping. We do the same. It's the same. It's with the property. It's not with the owner of the property. It's with the actual property itself. So I don't know. That seems to be legal also. Was there something else that I'm missing?
Sir, at this time,
Yes.
we don't have a back and forth. Later
Oh,
on
okay.
the agenda, Councilman Ritz has this on his communication.
Okay,
At that time, if you're still available, he may have some questions.
All right.
All right, and thank you. This is just public comment. We
all
don't
right, I'll
respond.
be sitting here waiting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is anyone else in the room tonight who would like to make public comment on agenda matters?
Good evening, everyone. Joy Fox, 411 Fair Street in Warwick. Some of you, it's good to see you again. I was at the ordinance committee last week, speaking on, I believe it's going to be agenda item under ordinance 2.04.060 on the special advertising. I came up to express appreciation for the direction in which the ordinance is going tonight, but also just to continue to raise questions about how this even came up in the first place. Again, knowing that it was originally stated to us that it was part of a charter commission that voted on in 2022 as part of charter commission work. So we're still waiting for clarification on that. And we do understand when things are out of date and they need to be updated to modernize practices. But as we have since learned too, it was not actually voted on in 2022. So it still begs the question where this actual ordinance came from. But regardless of how and why, again, I think we're all in agreement, as Council President Wall stated last week, that we should be increasing obligations for transparency among our elected officials and not rolling them back. So as I've written for a couple of weeks now, and our reporter, who I think you all know here too, has reported on the issue, you know, while we monitor Facebook and chase down leads and all sorts of things, we have to be able to be as accessible as possible to the voters, and we must continue to provide reliable ways to keep them informed. So the ordinance before you tonight, I think, is a very good first step. I still think it should have print as an option because according to Rhode Island open meetings, it's a 48-hour notice. I understand that we are a weekly publication and sometimes that is not feasible for what we're trying to do. A special meeting is different than an emergency meeting and still requires that 48-hour notice. So I would implore you to continue to take a look at this ordinance because it is silent on the actual time for posting a special meeting. So again, I want to thank you for working with us on this and for being an advocate for transparency, but I do still think that there is more to do here. And we do need to get to the bottom of why this was presented as a charter change, because that's a pretty steep, that requires a pretty steep requirement in terms of a vote by the voters of the city of Cranston. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to speak on agenda matters?
Hi, good evening. It's Marcia Fowler, 35 Milton Ave. I'm speaking about the housing court. And although I fully agree that something does need to be done about abandoned properties, neglected properties that endanger neighborhoods, I have a few concerns about the proposed housing court. I've reached out to some of you and I appreciate those who took time to respond. My main concern is about the unknown cost of adding a new court, especially on the cusp of school budget season. We all know that school budget season hasn't fully been funded for a while, and cuts in staff and services are made each year by Cranston Public Schools, which most of you have either been on the school committee or fully understand. And while this council has historically made cuts to the city budget in order to fund as much of the school budget as possible, there never seems to be enough in the city budget to fully fund the schools. With that in mind, I find creating a department that will carry a cost without the council making cuts in other areas to fund it is not appropriate at this time. Although it was stated a few meetings ago that the court will bring in money, I feel it's not fiscally responsible to rely on a court to fund itself down the road. I understand Providence has a specific housing court, but they are a city more than twice the size of Cranston, and from what I could find, have only 3 judges on the housing court. I feel this process is brought up quickly with very little discussion or questions during the council meetings and little understanding of the yearly costs. I also feel that there's not enough knowledge as to how many houses and buildings are actually in disrepair How many of those are rental properties that could be brought to the state for issues with lead? How many are owned by someone with mental health issues who needs services? How many have something as minor as overgrown grass that might be handled with a knock on a door? I also question how much is backlog due to the city being short-staffed of an inspector for a while. So again, there's definitely a need for something to be done about specific houses and buildings, but I do think this ordinance isn't fully ironed out yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in chambers who'd like to make public comment on docket matters only? All right, I see none. Tom, is there anyone online?
Drake Patton.
Ms. Patton,
Good
can you hear me?
evening. Yes, good evening. This is Drake Patton, and just since you'll be discussing the OMA, there's no R in my last name, just Patton. 684 Natick Ave. I just thought that what Marcia Fowler said was so well put on the housing court. Could not say it better myself. I have asked in the past for a better fiscal note that defines what the potential income might be. I think that's quite reasonable. And many of the things she said speak to what I've asked for also, which is to be data-driven. Where are the data for this decision? How can we do this in the best possible way? And I think the comparison with Providence is quite valid. They have a much larger, population to manage, and yet their court is comparably smaller. So I think this is premature. I would encourage the council to take a pause, pump the brakes a little bit, and engage in some more data collection and perhaps conversation with the community, including landlords, et cetera. Let's find out what's happening before we do this. I also want to follow up on the newspaper notice. Once again, I like Ms. Fox would say that it's great that the online has been added, but let's add that in addition to newspaper print being left in there. And other municipalities do use the Providence Journal. That is an option. It is statewide and it is a daily right now. I think it is verging on discriminatory to not provide opportunity to those who may not have computers, and often the elderly who just are not prepared to do that, or that's the way they've always understood things. I really would like to see us not take away options for participation, especially while the country is really, I think, at risk for that generally. I want Cranston to be much better. And then I wasn't going to speak on lawn beauticians tonight, but I was delighted to hear that the lawn beauticians have a DEM permit. I'm a little confused by that because there isn't anything listed on DEM's site. But I'm also confused by that only because when there is a DEM permit, there is a requirement that the municipality has a safety plan in place for just such an incident as happened 1 year ago. So if the city doesn't have a safety plan, then either they don't know about the permit or something has broken down, and that should be fairly easy to figure out. And I will have to push back on Mr. Moyo's statement that composting is or mulching is a farm activity. Farm activities are limited to the materials we produce on our farms. I am a farm, I'm registered with the state, and we cannot bring in outside material. That is a very clear regulation. I have spoken of this before, I am saying it again. And it is a complete misstatement to say that the piles are not high. I'm sorry. I encourage every one of you on council to go out there and to please take a look with the scale of your body, just as Ms. Cooney spoke of tonight. That seems particularly important. But let's get a copy of that permit. And I want to also mention, and it's come up before, that this business is not the same business that it was in the 60s. All we need to do is look at the aerials. This has also been mentioned before. It was also mentioned by Councilwoman Graziano. It is very clear when the function of what was a nursery, I shopped there back in the day, when it changed. So this is really not hard. We can do this. And I encourage you to use all the tools possible to make sure the neighborhood stays safe. Thank you again for your time.
Perfect timing. Thank you. Is anyone else online who'd like to make public comment on docketed matters only?
I see no other public comment online.
Thank you, Tom. At this time, I'm going to close public comment. And we're going to move on to committee business, committee reports. First up would be Councilwoman Vaziri, Chairwoman of the Claims Committee. Councilwoman Vaziri, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. The Claims Committee met on November 3rd, 2025. The paid claims report is included in all council members' packets, and I have nothing further to report at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Moving on to the Safety Services and License Committee. Report out will be from Council Vice President Haroyan. Council Vice President Haroyan, the floor is yours.
Safety Services and License Committee met on November 3rd. Class BV liquor license, it's a new one for Alexis Pizza and Pasta LLC, doing business as Campanella's, located at 930 Oak Lawn Avenue. We did vote it out of committee. The owner has been in touch with Brittany, the clerk for licensing, almost daily. He's been reaching out to me. His attorney was able to get the Rhode Island Division of Taxation license in the letter of good standing. It'll be in the City Hall portal tomorrow morning. I am asking we pass this subject to receiving the letter of good standing tonight.
Is there a motion to pass this subject to receiving the letter of good standing?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Is the same owner, and he is online on Zoom in case we had any questions for him. Cafe Rose LLC, doing business as Cafe Eatery, located at 1686 Cranston Street. This also is over cap. It needs a full council approval. The letter of good standing will be in the city portal tomorrow. I'm asking we pass this, subject to receiving the letter of good standing.
Is there a motion to pass this license subject to receiving the letter of good standing?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would like to thank the owner for being as transparent as he has been, welcome them to the city, and say thank you for reaching out to us through every step of this.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? I see none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Thank you, Council Vice President. Moving right on to the Chair of the Finance Committee, Councilman Andujar will be reporting.
Yes, the Finance Committee meeting met November 3rd of 2025. I urge passage for the resolution authorizing real estate tax abatement as requested by the tax assessor.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. All right, moving right along to Public Works Committee. We'll be hearing from Councilwoman Graziano as Chair of the Public Works Committee. Councilwoman Graziano, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. The Public Works Committee met on November 6, 2025, and at this time, we have no action to report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Moving along to the Chair of the Ordinance Committee, Councilman Andujar will be reporting. The floor is yours, Councilman Andujar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance committee met on November 6, 2025, known as the Chris Bonanno Show. So I urge passage for ordinance 92502, an amendment of Title 10, Chapter 12, Section 130 of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances entitled Right Turns at Certain Red Lights.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I see none at this time. I see none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next up, we have ordinance 92503, an amendment of Title 10, Chapter 20, Section 40 of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances 2005 entitled No Parking on Certain Streets. I urge passage.
Is
So
there a
moved.
motion to approve? There's a mo-
Second.
And there's a second. Any discussion? Councilman Banano?
Thank you. I don't know if, I assume everybody got it, but late today, we got basically a sign off from the traffic engineer, Bureau of Traffic Safety. Without objection, I would like to read this into the record. Says City Clerk, for the sake of expediency, where a full MUTCD warrant analysis is not deemed necessary, please accept this email response in lieu of a formal staff report for the subject ordinance, and he's referring to 92503. Based on a review, this office finds no apparent traffic safety issues associated with the approval of the proposal as submitted. However, it's highly recommended that the area residents be surveyed to gauge a community consensus prior to final adoption. So that's what the Bureau of Traffic Safety had to say. So in lieu of a traffic study, it's been approved. And I would like to editorialize, not part of this email. The residents asked for this particular ordinance, especially the ones living in the single-family homes that are adjacent to the Garden City Apartments. So the ones immediately affected and sort of abutting where this is going to be going into effect if it passes in a moment, have essentially, asked me to put this forward. So they were gauged for their consensus, and their consensus is positive for this particular ordinance.
Thank you, Councilman. I too heard many concerns regarding this issue on those streets, and I want to offer also a way of thank you for the hard work you did. This was a little bit more of a heavy lift than we thought it was going to be, and a little more time consuming than we thought it would be. And thank you, Councilmember Banano. Is there any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next up, we have ordinance 92504, ordinance and amendment of Title 10, Chapter 32, Section 180 of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances 2005 entitled No Parking on Weekends. I urge for this to go back to committee.
If I may, Mr. President,
You have the floor.
we still don't have this one right. I guess some of the polls are not correct, and because of the nature of this one street turning into two streets, the identification of exactly where we want the no parking to begin and end has been confusing at best. So we're still working with the traffic engineer to get this one right. So I make a motion to send this back to committee in the next ordinance committee meeting.
Okay, there's a motion to send it back to committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz? Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next up, we have resolution, ordinance 102503, ordinance and amendment of Title 2, Chapter 4, Section 60 of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances 2005 entitled Advertising Special Meetings of the City Council. I urge passage.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I see Councilman Campiano's hand up.
Thank you, Council President. Well, first of all, it's as public officials, I don't like to use the word politician. I hate that word, but as public officials, we have three things that we have to be careful, and that is transparency, transparency, and most important, transparency. I don't mean to make light of it, but whenever we give any type of notion that we're not trying to be transparent, it could turn against you really quick. I checked in my 4.5 years here, there wasn't that many special meetings that I can think of, except for a couple of months ago between the prior council president and lawyer. We had those, and then last week when we had the one about the playgrounds, which I believe was very important to get that in, but even that could have been done if it was done more diligently beforehand. So it very rarely comes up. I would like to see maybe something in this that says, if time permits, it would be in the paper. And then we also have the option of the Providence Journal, as was spoken of earlier. We could even put it there. I just don't want to make any type of idea that we're getting away from transparency. Not everybody has a computer. I mean, most of you know that I attend church every Saturday, and I get people buzzing by me in my ear, and there was 3 or 4 people this weekend that says, go for transparency. We don't want to see, this go away. So I voted against in committee. If it's not tweaked, I think I'm still going to vote against it. Like I said, I would like to see even if something in there with time permit, and also we can do the Providence Journal. So there is other avenues that we can do to keep this going. So with that, that's my opinion.
Is there any other comment? I see Councilman Andujar's hand, and I see other hands as well. No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Council Vice President Chrissy Horoyan for putting this forward. It is a step it is a step forward that we need. It might not be correct, everybody might not be happy, but at least we're moving forward with this. So I applaud you and I thank you for putting this through.
Thank you, Councilman. I see Councilwoman Horoyan, Council Vice President Horoyan, pardon me.
Okay, unfortunately, there has been a lot of confusion and frankly, some misinformation concerning this ordinance. And I think it's important to let everyone know how this came about. About a month ago, the city clerk suggested that the ordinance related to the newspaper advertising of special meetings needed to be amended in result of a home rule charter change that had been approved by the voters some years ago, okay? In fact, the notification that the clerk was referring to of the charter was related to the notification that had been sent to her and other council members prior to a special meeting, and had nothing to do with the need for the council to advertise special meetings. Based on the misreading of the charter amendment, the clerk suggested that the current ordinance will be repealed, and she believed that in contrary to the charter. That is how I got before the city council on this recommendation of the clerk. She made a simple mistake. It is important to note that under our Open Meeting Act, neither regular or special meetings of the city council need to be advertised in the paper or general circulation before they can occur. The only thing that is required is for the agenda of any meeting to be posted on the Secretary of State's website. The place of the meeting and the other prominent place within the city, at least 48 hours of the meeting date, weekends not included. Since the local paper is only published once a week and the advertising of special meetings is difficult to schedule to ensure that we meet the advertising deadlines of this print. It creates a delay in ability for the council to conduct its business under special circumstances of special meetings needed and an extra cost of advertisement. However, since the issue has come to light in the interest of transparency, the original ordinance will be amended and allow for the continuing posting of special meetings notices online rather than in the newspaper. This will enable the council to schedule a special meeting when necessary and still give the public notice without worry about printing and deadline of a newspaper. This process will remain transparent, save city taxpayers advertising costs, online publication, and is less expensive than the printing, while still giving the council the flexibility it needs to conduct our business. The council will continue to post all of its meetings in accordance with open law. That is why I'll be supporting this ordinance tonight. I did walk my neighborhood. I don't know how many other people talk to their constituents. I knocked on 25 doors in the cold wind. None of them seem to read it. On Projo, well, that we don't advertise, on the Cranston Herald. They said if they have a question, they call the clerk's office. Most of my constituents didn't even know it was posted on the Secretary of State's. And I take offense to an editor, a letter to the editor that was written in. That's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Did I see Councilman Ritz's hand up?
Yes, I just had a few comments to make, similar to Councilman Campopiano. You know, it's kind of the balance between transparency and practicality here with having this here. I did have 3 residents that reached out asking for it to still be in print. 2 of them sent me lengthy text messages, so I have to assume they were able to go online and find it. But the third one was an older resident that had trouble going online. So I do like the idea of being flexible here. So when time permits, I do still like the idea of putting it in the newspaper. I also think it's a good idea to maybe look at the Providence Journal. I love the Herald, but with the weekly circulation, that is kind of a hindrance if we have a special meeting that way. So I do like the idea of putting in the Providence Journal when we can. But if we can't, I'm also in favor of not delaying the meeting to have it there too. So a little bit of a balance of putting it when we can. Is definitely something I wanted to mention. And then one other thing was just from the few folks I spoke to that sent the text messages, we did have follow-up phone calls. They do have the ability on the Secretary of State's website to go on there, and you can get a text alert anytime any meeting from Cranston is put on the Secretary of State's website. So I just wanted to share that on the record so other folks could know that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to state that many times the reason we're having the special meeting is to accommodate businesses and safety services. I think it's really important that we don't put businesses on hold waiting for a paper in circulation. I appreciate that the Projo does daily, but I do postings for public hearings all the time. I work for municipality, and I do a daily one, and it still takes over a week to get it into the paper based on when I post it in. So, and that's a daily paper, and that's Projo, and I don't even know how much it costs the taxpayers to put it in the Projo. I personally believe that this is a nice, happy medium. If we can do it with the Herald and post it online, I think that is a great way, and I do understand that we're not going to get to everybody. I don't believe that's a lack of transparency. I think it's a need to accommodate our residents and the public. I don't want to leave them waiting. I mean, legally, we're allowed to post a meeting in 48 hours. If we could work out something with the city to do the same sort of thing, because we do that too. Like, we notify people, they get on a list and they can be notified via text message or email when there's a meeting. So I don't know if that's something Cranston can look into. But I really don't want to delay the special meetings for a reason. If it wasn't a special meeting, it would be a regular meeting and then we'd be waiting. So I'll say I support it, and I work for municipality, and we definitely don't do this. And I talked to a couple other municipalities in the state of Rhode Island, and they don't do it either. Not saying we have to follow suit, but we're not out of the realm of being reasonable.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comment? I see Councilman Bonanno.
So I think this is one of those situations where everybody's right. Okay. And I'm hopeful maybe we can find a sort of a compromise here. First of all, I am probably the oldest 41-year-old you're ever going to meet. And I subscribe to the Cranston Herald. I subscribe to an online version of the Providence Journal, and I read them when I get them. But as a council member now, it's quite different. But even before I was a council member, and even before I was involved in government at a level that some people are, I never got my notice for public meetings from the Cranston Herald. I still read it from cover to cover. I saw those advertisements, but I was never informed of those meetings for the first time by the Cranston Herald. That is not a knock on the Cranston Herald, by the way. Cranston Herald is a phenomenal paper. I love reading it every week, and I think you guys do a fantastic job. And it's, I never got it from the Journal. I never got it from anywhere. I got it from the City of Cranston website or, Google. When is the Cranston Council meeting? So to say that it needs to be there for total transparency, I don't necessarily buy. However, I also agree we should err on the side of caution. My votes have consistently been for more transparency, even when they might not have been very popular. So I want to throw this out there. I think that if we tweak the language of this and essentially leave it the same and simply add sort of what Councilman Ritz was talking about, and when, be published in an online version of a newspaper of general circulation within the city, or, if time permits, be printed in a newspaper of general circulation within the city. I think that will cover everything. And I understand that the spirit of this is in good faith. I don't think anybody's trying to get one over on anybody. Until I was talking to a friend of mine, until a couple of years ago, the town crier was supposed to go into the center of town with a trumpet and post a warrant about elections. And nobody does that anymore, quite obviously. So I understand that we need to modernize, but I also understand that we still do have printed papers. So I don't think that it would be detrimental to this particular ordinance to perhaps send it back to committee, add that one sentence after we deliberate it, and move forward. I'm gonna make that motion, so at least we get out of here and everybody is satisfied. Not everybody could be thrilled, but everybody could be satisfied.
Councilman, before we take that, I'm just going to take a
Sure.
second because offline, Attorney Marcelo and I were speaking to something similar to that. If we made that amendment or something similar to, if time permitted, to publish in the print version of a paper of general circulation, would that have to go back to committee? And here's where, and I'm just going to speak before I go around because I think everybody's had an opportunity for a moment. I proposed putting the online version of the paper of general circulation into this because two reasons. I'll tell you why. There have been special meetings over the years. There have been a number of them. I've talked to council presidents, and the idea of the ability to advertise in a paper has been a difficulty when time doesn't permit you that. So this amendment, it doesn't hinder transparency. It actually makes it truly transparent. We could leave the ordinance as is, but it's a farce. You can't have you very rarely, I won't say can't, you very rarely can have a special meeting with a 7-day time frame. So I certainly, it's not that special if it's within 7 days, but there are times. All right, but many of the times time parameters don't allow us, and that's just the reality of it. All right, that's why I proposed it. And the idea didn't even come to me, it was through a discussion. All right, but I certainly, because myself and Council Attorney Marcelo, we heard the same thing. Before I'm going to actually take a brief recess to discuss that matter, but I'm going to take Councilman Andahar first and then take a brief recess just to discuss what the parameters would be. Councilman Andahar, you have.
Mr. President, I mean, the Herald is a staple paper for Cranston. If we start advertising in the Journal, I believe the Journal is 2 to 6 times more what the Cranston Herald costs to advertise. So I believe the Herald is online. I believe we should stay with the Herald, and I believe we should stay advertising with the Herald. If something comes up, open special meeting, word of mouth, like it gets out, like phone calls get happening. This one said this one, that one said that one. Well, guess what? There's a special meeting. Did you hear about that too? So I think we should keep it as is. The Cranston Herald is a staple to Cranston, and we should not start entertaining advertising in other papers because it's just going to basically open up a can of worms, and then everybody's going to want to advertise. I received emails today too from another paper that I forwarded, and they're like, "Hey, we want some of the pie too. So what do we do?" So that's all I have to say. I'll leave it to my colleagues, but I will vote in favor of this to keep it the way it is.
I'm going to take a brief recess, right? Do I have to take a vote for that or no? All right, so we're just going to take maybe 5 minutes tops, and I want to confer with legal, and then we can continue this topic. we're going to reconvene. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back in public session right now. Let me just start off, as we convene with legal, the solicitor's office and Attorney Marcello, listening, certainly when I proposed the amendment to the ordinance, I believed I was doing so to actually increase transparency, not limit it, not be an enemy of it, to actually do something so people actually did see what was posted, as opposed to the situation now, which was almost impossible to conform to. Listening to Councilman Ritz and especially Councilman Bonanno, I did hear some things that perhaps there's something we can tweak and add something, some provision if time permitted in the special meetings. But doing that, we'd have to send that back to committee. All right, because we couldn't, it would be more, and discussing it with legal, this would be more of a substantive change. So with that in mind, to get it right, I'd be looking for a motion to send this ordinance back to committee.
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? I see Councilwoman Graziano.
Sorry, just a question. Do we need to have who made the motion, was it Andy, to rescind that motion? Because we were in the middle of a motion and we were in discussion.
Who made the motion? Who made the motion to adopt?
Could you rescind it?
You're gonna withdraw it. You're gonna withdraw your motion.
Do I have to? All right. No, all right. I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay, so now there's a motion to send it back to committee. There's a second. Is there any further discussion? I see Councilman Campiano.
Yes, just briefly, Council President. I think lost in my speech there was, I did make the recommendation that if we could put in it, if time permitted. So I'm glad it got a little bit of circulation there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman Endahai.
I just want everybody to keep in mind the cost of this. So I hope we have a budget, because I know a lot of people are always looking at our budgets. I hope we have extra money. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Councilman Bonanno.
I think this is the right move. I think that, once we debate this further in committee, we get the language right. So we can still advertise it in our local newspaper, either online if it's an emergency / special meeting and time doesn't permit it to be printed. But if time permits, we print it. And I think, like I said, that encompasses everybody's needs. I don't think it's anybody's wish to balloon the budget. I think the way we're kind of doing it in the publications we're doing it in now work. It's just we got to sort of conform the special meeting situation so that can fit into that framework as well. And I'm glad it's going back to committee.
Thank you, Councilman. I see Councilwoman Graziano's hand up.
Thank you. So I'm going to definitely encourage this. I'll review the language, but I was just kind of going back and forth with what the options are. And I think everything's subject to interpretation. So the language proposed better be pretty good, because if time permits is, to me, opening a door of questions whether or not time actually does permit. So that's my only concern, and I'll have to review the language, but I'm not going to make any promises. But I do support the online version.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion? I see Councilwoman Heroin.
I will not support something with the wording if time permits. It would have to say in hours, because if time permits is open a can of worms, and we wouldn't want anyone to misinterpret that and write a letter to the editor complaining.
I think we definitely going to need legal language that is clear and it isn't vague and isn't subject to interpretation. I would certainly agree, and I think during that time, when we do take it up in committee, we'll definitely have to come up with that. And if it doesn't work, we could be sitting with the same ordinance again. That's an option. If we can't find language that works, we may have that, but I'm willing to give it a try. Any other discussion? Okay, I see none. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Hoorian? Council President Wall?
Yes.
All right, still me. Next up, we have ordinance 10-2504, ordinance and amendment of Title II, Chapter 8, Section 190 of the City of Cranston Code of Ordinances 2005, entitled Department of Law, Number of Assistant City Solicitors. My understanding, this is just a title, so I urge passage.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is a second? Any discussion? Solicitor, would you like to address the council? Seeing you have the most knowledge on this matter?
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, Councilman Andujar is correct. This is nothing more than cleaning up the language. It is not hiring anybody new. Since I've been the solicitor in 2021, Chris Rawson has been deputy solicitor based on his level of responsibilities, and that's all it is just creating a title and the same number for the solicitor's office, which is already in effect. So this is not should have zero effect on the budget, nor is it my office looking to hire anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Solicitor. Any other discussion? All right, was there, somebody make a motion? Somebody made a second? There's no other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Council Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Hoorian?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next up, we have a resolution adopting the City of Cranston Safety Action Plan. I know a lot of people didn't receive it. So instead of killing it, I would urge to table this to the next meeting.
Motion to continue to the next city council meeting.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all right, so there's a motion to continue. There is a second discussion. Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you. Thank you, President Wall. I would just like to address the council and let everybody know that, personally, I requested this item. It was not received to the city council. I'm just getting it on my desk today. We even made strides trying to get it Friday at 3 o'clock. And I'm pretty smart and I think I can work a computer, and I could not get it off the planning website or the links or anything. So because I fully support this, but because I have not had a chance to read it, I am supporting that motion to continue. Once I read it, I'm happy to support it.
Councilman Banano.
I concur with Councilwoman Graziano's remarks. I just have a basic question. By continuing it to the next meeting, there won't be any adverse consequence for the city. And that's my question. Is that an accurate statement?
I'm not sure who can answer that question. When I did speak to planning, they didn't say it was a time-bound thing. It would be all right, but I don't know if Director Moretti has anything. He stepped up to the podium.
Yeah, I was going to request to say something, but to answer that question, I believe it, I'm not aware of any ill impact as a result of losing funds.
And the Director of Planning, she said the same thing because she knew she actually, when she spoke to me, she knew I had reached out with Rose on Friday and said, no one can open this and we need some time to read it. It's a 200-page document and it doesn't read like your best novel. It's important stuff. It's good stuff, but I think we need to read it. And I believe everyone should have got a copy on their desk today. All right, that's what I was told. I got one. So I'm in support of motion to continue, but Director Moretti, you have something more to add? Yeah,
just to add to it for clarification, the mayor was sponsoring this basically to accommodate the planning department. And apparently she represented, like beginning last Thursday, I believe she tried to get this document to people for whatever technical reasons or not. She was not able to do so successfully. And that's where we are today. But just to let you know that it wasn't the administration, if you will, the mayor's office had delayed. And I believe she made a diligent effort, but maybe swung and missed at being able to execute getting out this large document. And certainly, I don't think there'll be any harm or foul by continuing. Thank you.
And going along with the sports analogy, perhaps we'll get another chance to be up at bat. Any other comments before we take a vote? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan? Council President Wall?
Yes.
Next up, we have the resolution supporting the City of Cranston application for the 2026 Green Space Outdoor Recreation Grant for improvements to the friendly playground. And Mr. President, if I could allow Councilwoman Graziano to speak about this.
Could I just take, is there a motion to approve and then
Motion to
we'll open
approve.
it up? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Or a motion severally made and seconded?
Second.
Is there any discussion? And right away, I see Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Senator Vargas. She had been leading this charge when she was a councilwoman here for the city of Cranston. She and I had spoken about it a number of times. In campaigning, I heard about it from the residents. This is a playground that was owned by the state. It is now being given to the city, or has been given to the city, and therefore will be able to apply for grants to do improvements. There are many families in this neighborhood, single-family homes, apartments, duplexes, families that I spoke to that would love to have this. Plus, right now, it's a huge eyesore, and we can't even ask our Parks and Rec department to just do little tweaks here and there. This really needs a full upgrade. So as the Ward 1 council person, I fully support this, and I think it'll make a big change to this part of the community.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other discussion? All right, I just want to second the fact that I know how hard and how long the Senator worked on it. I see that just about everybody who was in the committee that evening wanted to be a co-sponsor, so it's a very good thing, and I think it's sorely needed. So I ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Okay. Well, it seems like you've been on for quite some time, Chairman. Now I can take the floor back. Very good.
It's all yours.
All right, so at that point, public comment. At this time, we're going to look at public comment on undocketed items. Is there anybody in chambers who would like to speak on undocketed matters? If so, please step up to the podium, state your name and your address for the record. You'll have 4 minutes.
My name is Sue Kelly. I live at 199 Jordan Avenue in Cranston, and I did send out a comment, but I think I sent it to the wrong address. I sent it to all the council members, and I thank you to Councilman Banano for getting back to me and making a comment about it. And I would like to read the comments so that it goes into public record. Thank
right
you.
ahead.
On a cold morning about 2 weeks ago, as I was driving toward Route 10 along Gansett Avenue, I was shocked to see a man covered in blankets sleeping on a bench. I am aware Rhode Island has many more homeless people than we should have, and I know Providence has a system called Regional Access Points, centralized informational access sites through which to get help if one is homeless or in imminent danger of becoming homeless. Providence also has a dashboard that lists homeless shelters, their capacity, and their use. This dashboard reports the number of people who need shelter balanced with the number who were able to access shelter. When I saw this poor man, I began to wonder if Cranston has its own system to care for our homeless friends and neighbors. With this question in mind, I visited the City of Cranston webpage, hoping to find a similar situation so that the next time I see someone sleeping outside in the cold, I would be able to direct them to our local resources. I could find nothing. I couldn't find information on the number of people in Cranston experiencing homelessness, nor could I find a list of shelters available for the homeless. I could not find anything similar to Providence's regional access points, meaning I couldn't find a centralized process that would help someone experiencing the crisis of homelessness. We are living through a brutal time that penalizes those with the least. Social services of all kinds are facing budget cuts. Even food sources are under threat. It seems to me that one major help the city of Cranston could provide would be a centralized resource for people under the incredible stresses of food insecurity and homelessness. Within this resource would be factual information on the number of our community who are experiencing homelessness so that the public can understand the need and that our tax dollars are helping take care of those in need. Also included should be a list of available shelters, whether these shelters are provided by the city or by local churches, the number of beds provided, and the number of beds taken. In addition, a list of food pantries, their hours, and their requirements should be listed. It is not a crime to be homeless, nor is the ability to care for others. I certainly hope Cranston has the will and heart to ameliorate the financial, emotional, and political stresses that come with the crisis of homelessness. And I think we also need a way for the homeless themselves to be able to access this information, whether it be through libraries or whatever else would be available for the homeless to do some sort of research or reach out in order to find our resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to speak on undocketed matters? Seeing none. Tom, is there anyone online who'd like to speak on undocketed matters?
There's no public comment online.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment. All right. Next would be the election and appointment of city officials. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve of the appointment of Mario Carlino to the Tax Assessment Board of Review as alternate number 2, filling in the unexpired term for Elizabeth Del Prada for the term ending January 28th, 2026. Is there a motion to
So moved,
approve?
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call that roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Council Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes, thank you. Next would be the appointment of Richard Santa Maria to the Board of Contracts and Purchases as Citizen 3, filling the unexpired term of Jesse Dooley for a term ending January 5th, 2026. I do see Mr. Santa Maria is in the audience. Thank you for coming tonight. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I would-
Councilman
I
Andujar.
would just like to thank Mr. Santa Maria for his time, and he's more than a friend, so welcome.
Any other discussion?
He should be welcoming you.
I guess that's discussion. Also welcome and thank you for, you've been here quite a while for the appointment, and I know you'll be of value to that board. Very good. All right, clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nazari?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Congratulations, Richard. Okay, moving on, report of city officers. There are no report of city officers under executive communications. I'm not sure if there are any questions, but the legal expense report was provided in your package. I know the solicitor is here if you have any questions. I see none. So we're going to move on to Council President Communications. And if you recall way back at the beginning, this would be a discussion item only on the open meetings decision of the Patton versus Cranston City Council decision from the Attorney General. I've read it, but I asked Councilman, no, strike that, Attorney, it's been a longer night than I thought, Attorney Marcella, to perhaps give us a little update, and he'll be here to answer any questions on this matter.
Thank you, Council President. As you know, a complaint was filed against the City Council for an alleged violation related to 3 meetings that occurred in August 20th and 2025, relating to a meeting of the Cranston City Council, the Finance Subcommittee, and then back to the City Council. They're all filed. The complaint was filed by the same individual. The gist of the complaint was that the agenda was not specific enough, didn't provide enough comment time period, 48-hour time period for people to comment on the complaint, as well as there was no link to the alleged amendment relating to the legal contract by the former counsel for the City Council, Mr. Angel. After a thorough decision, and the decision was rendered on November 3rd, 2025, the Attorney General's office found that there was no violation by this body of the Open Meetings Act or the posting of the notices, that the notice provided was sufficient to inform the public as to what was happening. And most specifically, I think I want to just add this. So the requirement that there be a link to the agenda of the document that's being discussed. The Attorney General has consistently held that public bodies are only required to post attachments or links to additional information when the sufficiency of the agenda item itself is contingent on the information in the link or the attachment. In other words, if the agenda item might be a little vague, and they might say like a zoning amendment, right? But then it doesn't have the zoning amendment not linked. The zoning amendment could be anything. But if you link the zoning amendment to that, then that kind of cures the defect. In this case, they found that the posted agenda notice that there was a possible vote on an amendment to a legal contract, and we attached, the city clerk attached the actual legal contract to the agenda, was sufficient, and there was no need to attach the proposed amendment. So that's where the decision lies. There was no findings. There was no finding of a violation of the law, and I will say that I'm pleased that the Attorney General did get back and render a decision pretty quickly, because I thought this was going to take a little bit more time. But I think we filed our answer in early September, and we got it back pretty quickly. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does anyone, member of the council, have any questions for Attorney Marcella?
Yes, sir.
So it's over. That's it.
It's over.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? I do want to thank Attorney Marcella for the work that he did on this. It was my belief that as a council, I always felt that we did do things in upfront, transparent manner. Sometimes when questions arise and you get the decision that's in your favor, it's kind of a nice affirmation that we are doing things the right way, in a transparent way, which is a word we've used quite a bit this evening. So thank you, Attorney Marcella. All right, moving right along, I believe we're moving on to council member communications, and the first up would be Councilman Andahar, an update from the administration on the status of Rescue 5. I believe the floor is yours, Director Moretti.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilman. Rescue 5 is has been, to kind of define it, the 5th rescue service within the city of Cranston that has been operating on a part-time, let me say voluntary basis, part-time being the first shift during the day, with an agreement with the firefighters union. This has been going on for a good number of years. The fire department administration be pleased to show, and we will in time, the numbers of rescue calls over the years have vastly increased since a Rescue 4 had been enacted. And so there was some, as a result of the most recent negotiations, one of the items for follow-up was going to be making a final determination given in terms of keeping Rescue 5 full-time or not, and not a full-time, staffing it full-time. And discussions have taken place with the fire administration, the firefighters union, and the city administration. And the feeling is to recommend to the council to staff a full-time Rescue 5. Doesn't come inexpensively. What it will do is certainly reduce the overtime, because it's been on an overtime basis, that voluntary during the day staffing. And that would convert that to a full-time staffing, which I believe the incremental 8 firefighters or so would be staffed. The details of that would require there's been a verbal agreement to proceed to bring it forth to the council. And it's actually one of the highest priorities right now, sitting with the solicitor's office to develop an MOU to be locked into with the firefighters, along with an ordinance to alter the budget in terms of this fiscal note and also a companion ordinance to modify the budget. Those are being worked on, and I think it's going to be a matter of days rather than weeks till something is produced. Certainly, the process would be sharing that and coming to agreement with the firefighters union, and then eventually building it into the current contract. So over the coming days, and hopefully certainly within very short weeks, if you will, to have that in place, and so we could come forward. Once agreement is made, to come forward with a specific program and outline to produce to the city council seeking approval. Should we be successful, which we have every reason to believe we will be successful in getting to that point.
Councilman Andahar, do you have any follow-up to this?
Yes, no, Director, thank you for the update. As you know, Rescue 5 is in Ward 3, and it also generates funds because you do bill Medicaid. So it does generate funds. I urge that, and I thank the mayor for making it permanent. And if you need any help, if I could sponsor it, I would love to be on a part of that, because it is something dear to my neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bonanno.
Yes, I want to echo what Councilman Andahar said. It's actually about 10 feet into Ward 5, but it's the closest one to Ward 3. In that area, all kidding aside, in that area, which is Ward 3, there is the Cranston Senior Center. There are, I want to say 4 to 5 elderly housing, 4 elderly housing complexes. And there is the Riverbend complex, which is right down the road on Dyer Avenue. Having grown up in that neighborhood, I am floored that it's taken this long to get to the point where we're at. But I applaud the administration, I applaud the fire department, I applaud the mayor's office for bringing this forward. This is something that's vastly needed because, number one, while there is a cost associated with it, as my colleague said, there are bills that go out for people that have insurance, or if the federal government through Medicaid will pay for it. Number one, and number two, it probably will reduce some of the mutual aid calls. It will reduce some of the mutual aid calls, which will in turn make the service for Cranston residents that much better. I recall talking to some of the firefighters when I was campaigning, and there was a case where someone, because Cranston Fire got there so fast, the life was saved. And, there's no price you can put on someone's life. So we're moving in the right direction, and I support this wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, I support what my colleagues say. I know we've been here a while, but improving safety in the city, it can't be a bad thing. We can't do it enough. So thank you, and I support it as well. Who's hand? Councilman Trafficant, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. Believe me, I'm totally supportive of this. In fact, when I was mayor, I approved the construction of a new rescue up in Situate Avenue, so I know the importance of covering the entire city. My only question is, why wasn't this brought to our attention during the budgetary process during the current year? It's so critical.
At that time, the Rescue 5 was the way it's been for the past decade or so. I don't have so there was pretty much the status quo. During the budgetary process, that was coinciding with the negotiations and negotiating the firefighters contract. which was adopted and agreed upon after the budget process was completed. And this was one of the issues that came up as a result of that. So, chronologically, the budget process took place, budget was adopted. Concurrently at the time, negotiations were going on. When negotiations finished up, which was post-budget, that's when it was agreed that we would take a serious look at this. I believe it was the first week in July, give or take, is when the actual firefighters contract was approved. And we had a target of October 1st to reach a conditional approval, a conditional agreement to proceed or not proceed. And here we are today. We have reached that, and we're at the point of having it to writing. So it was the chronological order sequence of which it occurred. Again, the mayor and the firefighters union, Mayor Hopkins addressed this after probably a decade or more of this lingering out there. So congratulations to Mayor Hopkins, congratulations to the fire administration, the fire union, to coming to this point. It is something going to be worthy of consideration. It's not a not costly endeavor. There's a lot of justification for it. We look forward to presenting a very comprehensive look at this, both in terms of costs, in terms of rescue runs, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not going to be willy-nilly to just, please try to rubber stamp a worthy cause. You'll, when we roll this out, which hopefully would be shortly, hopefully be introducing it within this month, that we'll see the full background to it. And studying this, the fiscal impact of that took a while also. So I hope that answers the question regarding the chronology of this.
All right, any other questions on this matter? I see Council Vice President Ryan, 2 slips tonight.
I will be in full support of this, and I would imagine the fiscal would not be the same as what we're paying for overtime or mutual aid from other cities and towns.
It looks as if there will be a net cost. It doesn't look like it could be a break even or a profit, if you will. Certainly the revenues will offset some of the cost, but it would be a costly proposition, if you will. But probably I think everyone will probably agree it's a worthy investment in the community.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Any other comment? There being none, thank you, Councilman Andahar. We're going to move on to communications from Councilman Ritz. The first one is a liquor license renewal, BCI. Councilman Ritz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I'm going to hold my comments on the liquor license renewal BCI. And as far as the second one with lawn beauticians, we asked for an update there, but I think it's kind of a challenging situation for me because I'm kind of in the middle here with two things I value, which are public safety and then not getting in the way of a business. And lawn beauticians has been here for a long time, good citizen in the community. There was a fire a few years ago, so I am, open to their concerns though too. But, we heard from one person tonight and I heard from a few others. I appreciate the effort you are making from what they have asked for. The permits had come up. You had mentioned that already, that you had the permits there too. I know there was some asphalt that was there. I heard from the citizens, and I think you might have mentioned it too, that stuff was removed. The one thing that does keep coming up is the height of the mulch piles that you have there. I know you mentioned they are 10 to 12 feet, which is in regulations, but I was wondering if you could look at lowering them just to be a good neighbor to the folks around you too, since that's a concern. And then the tree line, if it's possible to pull them away from the tree line. Those are the kind of the main things I have heard from the folks, and kind of the only 2 open ones is just the mulch pile height and the closeness to the tree line. And I understand their concerns because of the fire in the past, but I know you mentioned you moved the wood pulps and some of the other things too, but I just asked that you consider lowering them and moving them away from the tree line.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comment on this discussion item? I see Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you, Councilman Ritz, for bringing this up. I guess I'll just say, we're kind of going round and round with this, and I don't see it as a round discussion. I see it as whether very black and white. They're either in compliance or they're not. I do this a lot. These piles are definitely higher than 12 feet. This is what I do for a living. I would love to see the composting permit and compliance with large scale, medium scale, or small scale composting. It looks like the operation has expanded over the years. I'm looking at aerial photography on Nearmap. So, you know, I'm not gonna say what's there. I do administration and enforcement in a different state, so I'm not gonna say what's there. That would be up to the zoning enforcement officer. But, you know, I don't think we need to go round and round. It's either in compliance or it's not.
Sir, you stepped up to the microphone. Did you want to address this? Just please, once again, state your name and address for the record.
David Moyo, 416 Natick Avenue. The mulch piles are not really high, but there are piles in the back that's soil. So maybe I'm thinking that people are getting topsoil and finished compost confused with mulch, because the mulch piles are only, they're only as high as the loader goes. The loader only goes, you know, 10, 12 feet high. So it doesn't go any higher than that.
So I'm not out in sight. I don't feel comfortable because I do regulatory enforcement administration. So I don't want to say just from pictures, but like this one is
Yeah,
not
that's-
mulch. It's
that's
definitely
not
higher than
mulch.
12 feet.
That's soil.
You know, again, I'm not going to say what the problem is. I need the administration to tell us if this is in compliance or not. And it's just not the way I operate. So like either you're allowed to do something or you're not allowed to do something. Either it's in compliance or it's not in compliance. And if it's not, it needs to get into compliance. And if you have I read through the composting regulations for DEM in the state of Rhode Island while we were sitting here. There's all different types of permitting and all different types of requirements. Some require a safety management plan, operation and maintenance plan, certain inspections, you know, how you're going to comply with the requirements of importing materials. I mean, I have a really rigorous testing regime for any imported materials that exceed 500 cubic yards. So it all depends on what the level of import and export is. And if it's related, I don't know. Like, that's why I'm not going to say. The administration and zoning enforcement officer need to direct us if it is. We get continuing complaints. I want to make sure that we're in compliance. I'm sure you do too.
That's why
And
we
so
got the
to me,
license
it's
and-
super cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, they came there, they gave us a license, they say we're good to go. I don't know what.
Councilwoman,
Counselor, you want to respond to this on behalf of the administration?
yeah, I just
Solicitor?
wanted to address the fact that, well, obviously, we really shouldn't be having a back and forth here, but that, I'm not picking on anybody. As far as the city is concerned, Lawn Beauticians and that property is in compliance. Should that change, we will certainly report back to, obviously, we report it back to Lawn Beauticians and we would report it back to the council. Right now, inspections has been out there numerous times. It's my understanding they're in full compliance with DEM. So as of right now, there's really nothing to report. Mr. Moyer was nice enough to speak to me offline outside, and they are going to try and reduce at least the size of the mulch piles. The bigger pile, according to Mr. Moyer, is soil, which is not combustible to begin with. So however high it is. Mulch, obviously, different story, and that's what we had the problem with a year ago when there was a fire. But even after the fire, they were in full compliance. So I think we can kind of, I hope to be able to put it to bed at this point. And yes.
Through the chair, may I?
Yes, absolutely, Councilwoman.
So I'll just make comment, like composting, windrowing, we do it all the time, and I'm just not seeing it in the aerial photography. So I'll just make a comment that the DEM regulations, when I read them, require that you windrow all your composting. And I'm just not seeing it on this aerial photography. So I'll just let you know that I'm not seeing that.
We grind our compost and then put them in a windrow and then screen the compost. Yeah. You can come look if you'd like. DEM came and look. Nothing died.
Thank you. I appreciate that offer. Any other comments? All right, I think we're about, Councilman Ritz, you're about set? All right, thank you, I appreciate your time. All right, if we look, we head down to new business. I will make, I'm going to tell you that the administration is requested to withdraw 112503, but with the exception of 112503, I'm going to entertain a motion to take new business as a block.
Second.
Hold on, Councilman, I see a motion and a second, Councilman Andujar.
Mr. President, I wanted to speak about 112501.
Would you like me to remove it?
Yes, if we could just go in order, I think it would be a lot easier.
Well, then we'll take them all one at a time then. All right, so so we're gonna start with 112501. Is that, so we won't take it, we're gonna withdraw that motion and take it as a block. Please withdraw that motion.
Withdraw.
Okay, then I'm gonna entertain a motion to approve send 112501 to the appropriate committee. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr.
Second.
Chair.
Discussion. Councilman Andujar.
Mr. President, I entertained this ordinance because we were on a time constraint for the approval of 192 affordable housing units, and housing to me is very dearly, so we kind of rushed it. It didn't pan out, so it has to be withdrawn, but this is a clear example of if this were to pan out, we would have had to have a meeting by Friday in order for this person or this group to meet the deadline for their federal funding. So this is just a prime example of why I wanted to pass that other thing, but this will be withdrawn.
And I appreciate that. And through discussion with Councilman Andujar, that is it illustrates the point that sometimes it is a short time frame. It does happen, and I would agree with that. And that contingency has to be considered with our ordinance. All right, so that 112501 has been withdrawn. 112503 has been withdrawn. So the only thing we have to move to the appropriate committee would be a motion to send 112502 to the appropriate committee, which I guess would be the ordinance committee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call a roll.
Councilman Graziano? Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. All right. So now we go to the resolutions. There a motion to send the resolution requesting the general. Is there a
was
motion?
Motion to move the resolution.
Resolution, honor, yeah.
Second.
Second.
All right, second. Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call a roll.
Councilman Graziano? Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Is there a motion to send the claims, which are all listed there on your committee thing? Is it to the claims committee?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call roll.
Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante?
Yes.
Councilwoman Baziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campiano?
Yes.
Council Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. There being no further business before the council this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it. That motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.